Surround yourself with uplifting people. Break up with your sorrows. Don't waste your time, leave your struggles behind and smile. It's your best makeup.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show, Songs of My Life. My name is Luana Sandoval. Today I have a very special guest with me. She is a co-writer, singer-songwriter. Welcome to Lindsey Isaacson.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us, how did you get started as a songwriter, and you also play so many instruments?
I grew up playing piano as a small child, and then with band in school, I played a bunch of instruments, and in college I was studying piano and percussion and got really tired of playing dead white guy music, so I got a guitar.
Awesome.
And ended up playing bluegrass in Tennessee and have a banjo and a dobro, and that's what I do most of the time in town now, is play dobro and write songs.
Great. How did you get started with co-writing?
When I first moved to Nashville, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and a friend of a friend had us over for dinner, and she is a super successful songwriter and kind of had the heart-to-heart, what's your goal in this town, talk with me, and was basically like, if you want to songwrite, you need to write with as many people as you can and just write as many songs as you can. So that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years.
That's awesome. I never co-wrote until I moved to Nashville. And I also did a songwriting retreat in 2021 with Judy Stakey, and she introduced me to songwriting, and it's so much fun. I always learn something from a different co-writing session. Where do you perform usually?
I play down on Broadway fairly regularly, a couple times a week, and different artists that I play with around town, and I usually post those things up on Instagram if I'm going downtown.
All right. And when you co-write, how do you decide which harmony fits the word, and how the arrangement? How do you decide which guitar riff you pick for the song, or which instrument?
I feel like it just happens organically, and everybody has equal veto power, and I feel like good songwriters are really good at not having their feelings hurt, and so if somebody says no, you just move on and find something better. And that's the beauty of songwriting, is you get something better than either of you could have written by yourself.
I totally agree. All right. And are you going to sing a song for us today? And what inspired you to write a song?
I'm going to sing a song called Holy Now that I wrote on the way home from a gig in the car. It's one of the few songs I didn't co-write. I almost never write by myself, and this was one that just sort of spilled out of me, and it has nothing to do with my life.
That's amazing. Sometimes you have those moments when you just write a song within 5 minutes, or even, and it all comes together. That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy a performance by Lindsey Isaacson of her song Holy Now.
There's something about holding on to a lit cigarette like it's the last shred of hope that you're gonna get, that you've got left. Watching that ember burn real slow, reminding you how hard it is to let go. And we both know you're making assumptions and thinking it's one thing when it's really nothing. And you've got me wondering if I'm going crazy, 'cause darling, lately you've got me thinking I may be making up stories and writing down reasons to keep me hanging on to something watching myself going round and round. It's giving up, giving in, and letting you down. But I have my doubts that we're gonna make it unless we fake it. I'm tired of waiting for someone to blame when I know it's you and me and used to be's. And wishing that we're different don't change a thing, 'cause I'm making up stories and writing down reasons to keep me hanging on to something I wanna believe in. I promised you better and I swore for worse in front of everybody in that big old church. Maybe it's time we broke those vows, 'cause hanging on don't feel so holy now. And I still love you, but there's more to a happy ever after than saying I do. Making up stories and writing down reasons to keep me hanging on to something I wanna believe in. I promised you better and I swore for worse in front of everybody in that big old church. Maybe it's time we broke those vows, 'cause hanging on don't feel so holy now. So holy now.
That was such a beautiful song.
Thank you so much.
Really good. Yes, absolutely. Where can we listen to your music?
I do a lot of reels on Instagram, and I put them on TikTok as well, of me singing and accompanying myself with a dobro, which is a really hard exercise because it's a fretless instrument.
Down by the fireside, I saw you smiling. It could have been summer fading, but I was falling. And I don't mind if you come a little closer. And I don't mind your company, so stay with me. And we'll watch the sun rising in this comfortable silence, just you and me.
Great. Make sure you give her a follow. So maybe you can co-write with Lindsey at some point. You never know. It's also funny how we met each other. Tell the audience.
Right, we met using the We Should Write Sometime app, which I think was developed in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about it during COVID, which was great because it was really hard to connect with any writers during that time because nobody was able to go out. But it's basically the Tinder for songwriters. And it's nice for me, especially now, because I have a 1-year-old, so it's hard to get out and go to writers' rounds whenever I want to and meet people that way.
This is so amazing because you can co-write with somebody from New York via Zoom, and then you just send everything via email or Google Drive. We use Google Drive to transfer all the files. It's amazing.
And during COVID, too, I think the beauty of that was it taught us how to write over long distances and not have to do it in person. Like one of my main co-writers now is an artist from Malaysia. She's actually in town for 2 months, which is awesome. We got to meet each other for the first time after writing together for 2 years.
Wow, that's so inspiring.
Yeah.
That's so cool when you meet somebody you've worked with online, in person, and you perform together, sing together. That's wonderful.
It is really fun.
That's so cool. And for our song that we wrote, I'm Alone But Don't Worry, I hired a pianist and we never met in person, and then it all fits together, and I don't block my my schedule for writing. It just comes at night, midnight, or in the morning, How about you?
In the shower.
In the shower.
In the car.
In the car.
Yeah, that's usually where they come.
Oh, okay.
Or right as I'm about to fall asleep. So
Oh, yeah.
I keep notes next to my bed.
Oh, good. Do you also record your songs on your phone when you have a melody?
Oh yeah, and they're like, I'll be in bed and the baby's sleeping next to me, so I'm like trying to record him really quietly so he doesn't hear it.
I see. That's awesome. Okay, and how do you decide which instrument you're using for a song, which harmony and the wording? You also have to put it all together so it fits. How's your process for that?
I don't usually mess around with demos and arrangement stuff because since I'm not doing the artist thing, unless I'm sending a song to an artist and their team needs like a full instrumentation, like sort of demo, I usually just record with guitar and occasionally piano, but.
Did you learn guitar first or piano?
Piano.
Piano first.
Yeah.
So that was your first instrument?
Yeah.
Oh, good. How old were you when you?
I started when I was 7.
7. That's good. Did you learn classical?
Yes.
Music? Oh, okay. So
Hence
you played
the dead white guy music.
Mozart, Haydn. That's a great foundation. Classical music.
Yeah. It took me a long time to learn to play by ear because I didn't learn Suzuki method or anything. And so when I started teaching piano lessons, knowing how important it is to be able to listen and play, I made sure that my students could read music and learn by ear.
Yeah. Here in Nashville, we go by the number system. Were you familiar with this before you moved to Nashville?
When you study classical music, they do numbers, but it's Roman numerals and it's a pain in the butt. And so when I went to school for bluegrass out in East Tennessee, they taught us the Nashville number system, and that course was probably one of the most useful classes I took.
Oh, great.
Because it makes learning a song on the spot super easy.
Can you explain the Nashville number system?
Yeah, so if you think about the tonal scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And if you build a chord off of each of those notes, it's the 1 chord, the 2 chord, the 3 chord, the 4 chord. And so most songs are based off of the 1 chord and the 5 chord.
Okay.
And so you just write those numbers out, and it doesn't matter what key you're in, you can always play the song because in each key you know which chord is the 1 and the 4 and the 6.
Oh, okay.
So it makes it really simple. And when you're on stage and let's say the bass player's never played the song and you don't have a chart, if I'm the dobro player and I'm singing, I can just give him numbers.
Yes.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So.
Yes, I saw this when I first came to Nashville in 2020, and I went to the Honky Tonk Central, and I saw the band had to play a song they never performed together, and then I saw, okay, where are we? And then I saw, okay, the pianist was holding a 3, and okay, and then they were looking at each other, and then they could play the song as if they performed it before. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, it's really slick.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And whenever I have co-writers who don't know the number system, I usually force them to learn because it's going to make their lives a lot easier in the long run.
Yes.
Especially because, like, if I'm writing with a guy and I want to perform that song and we wrote it in a key for him, having to translate the letters into a different key is a pain.
Oh, it is. Yes.
So.
How would you explain the Nashville number system to a classical trained musician? Because they usually read music and
if they went to school, I would say just turn those Roman numerals into Arabic numbers and you'd be fine.
Okay.
But
and do you have your co-writers or musicians, do they read music?
Not always. So it's really hit or miss. I mean, even when I was in bluegrass school, most of the best musicians there couldn't read music.
Oh.
So some were classically trained coming in, but I think reading notated music is probably, I can't believe I'm saying this, one of the least valuable skills as a good musician, unless you're in the classical world.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing with an orchestra, you have to be able to do that. But if you're playing pop music, it's not going to help you a whole lot.
That's so true. Especially when you compare sheet music from classical music for opera versus a Madonna pop song. The Madonna pop song has only the chords usually, and then you can put something else on it.
If there's a guitar riff, they still write it out in the number system, and you can use little arrows to say like if it's the 5 above the root note or if it's the 5 below. And this way you can still translate it, because if you wrote it out notated, you'd still have to transpose it, and that's a pain. So.
Yeah. Are you good at transposing?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah. I remember as a kid when I discovered I could play guitar tabs on the piano, I was like, oh, this is easy.
Oh, cool.
So it's all the same language, it's just written out differently.
That's awesome. That's really good. Right. Because when I go downtown, everybody has to know the song, and you can require any song.
Well, I mean, and even if I don't know the song, if I have a chart, I can play it.
Yes, exactly.
Which is awesome. I mean, when I moved here, people said, you know, Nashville has world-class musicians, and I didn't know what they meant until I found myself on stage with strangers for 4 hours and played a whole set, and
that's amazing.
It feels easy.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a system and you can play in any band without
it's
even
just a language.
rehearsing together. And where do you perform on Broadway?
I perform at any and all of the honky tonks, so I don't really have my regular schedule, but I just hop in where people need me.
Okay, great. And you play 4 hours each set?
Usually
4 hours. How do you make sure your voice gets enough rest, and do you take any breaks within the 4 hours, or do you have another singer?
Usually I'm playing either with a band or with a couple other people, but on solo sets, I try to not play any like super crazy hard songs.
Yeah.
And you know, you're supposed to rest your voice beforehand, and I am pretty well behaved, and I try not to drink while I'm performing, because alcohol is really bad for your voice. I don't smoke cigarettes, and that helps a lot.
It
and
does.
only drink water, and drink a lot of water.
A lot of water, yeah. You need to be hydrated. That's great. And which is your favorite bar? Where do you like performing the most?
That one's hard to say. Whichever one I make the most money at, which varies.
Okay, cool. So, so you learned piano first, and then guitar?
Yep.
And then?
And then banjo, and then dobro.
What was the hardest instrument to learn?
Dobro by far.
Yeah. Why?
Because it doesn't have any frets.
Oh.
And so you really have to learn left hand intonation, which is really tricky. And thankfully my right hand was pretty strong from playing banjo, because it's the same pattern.
Okay.
You use finger picks. But it's a beautiful instrument.
Yeah. Do you perform often with it? Mostly with guitar?
If I'm not playing solo, I always bring the dobro.
Yeah?
Yeah, it sounds really cool on acoustic gigs. So when the other person's playing, I back them up and fill in spaces on the dobro. It's like the fiddle of guitar.
Oh, I see. Okay. I learned violin when I was 12 years old, and for me it was easy to learn because it's really similar to singing, because you have to find your intonation and the right pitch, and it's all about listening. And
how was it for your parents?
Well, the first year, I had to learn left-handed because I'm a lefty. And so we had to buy a special violin, and it took me a while to get this beautiful sound out of the violin.
I don't know how people do it. I've tried to I can't hold it and hold the bow at the same time.
Well, it's like I had to learn this, and there's a special exercise when you put a coin here, and the coin, you can't drop the coin. So it's like this movement here, and so it was about a year until I could produce a beautiful sound. And well, it helped me for my singing though, and because you can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
And but when you relate to the violin, the vibration, it's easy to translate it into singing.
Well, the violin and the early iterations of it were made to mimic the human voice.
Yeah, so true. Yes. Yeah, so violin is definitely a very difficult instrument to learn. And that was my second instrument. So I learned piano first as well, so classical music, then I learned violin and self-taught guitar.
Yeah, I think piano is definitely the easiest to start out on because it's already tuned.
So it is, yeah. Well, it depends. It depends. There's some, yeah. And the song we're gonna sing together is called I'm Alone But Don't Worry. It's about losing somebody dear and moving on in life. How was it for you to write the lyrics and the melody and putting it all together?
Well, it felt pretty easy since you had the big chunk of the idea already fleshed out, which was awesome. And so we just tweaked and threw a melody to it. And I think that was one of my fastest co-writes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it took us like, an hour? We spent an hour hanging out, getting to know each other, and then knocked out a song.
Yes, sometimes there's like the right chemistry between co-writers. Sometimes it doesn't fit.
Yeah, I usually call it after like an hour and a half or 2 hours if nothing has come of it, because you can't really force it.
Exactly, you can't force it. It just has to come naturally.
A lot of my co-writers and I joke that songwriting is therapy sessions.
Yes,
the first hour.
I agree. Yes. All right, so we're gonna sing the song together after our little break. Stay tuned.
Sunlight dancing, shadows playing on that chair. A silhouette reminding me that you'll stay here. Apple pie and candlelight and summer blooms. The curtains whisper secrets from across the room. I'm alone, but don't worry, I'm not lonely. There's no need to feel sorry that you're gone. It's only your memory chasing me, but I know someday we will dance again. But until then, there's been nights you visit me inside my dreams. When I hear your song, it's like you're touching me. When I miss you and need your voice, I call your phone just to hear you say, leave a message at the tone. I'm alone, but don't worry, You're still with me. 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 You're still with me.
All right, we're coming to the end of this episode, and thank you, Lindsey, for being on this show.
Thanks
and
for having me.
Where can people follow you?
Instagram and TikTok. My Instagram is Lindsey Joy Isaacson, and my TikTok is Dobro Queen.
Awesome. Right. And I'll see you in the next episode, and thank you for tuning in.